Hello everybody, welcome to road.cc, to shiny stuff in the back garden. Now, it's a bit of a special edition of shiny stuff this week, as the nice folks at HJC have asked us to talk you through their road helmet range, and that is what I'm going to do. So if you have any questions about any of these helmets, then stick them in the comments bottom. We'll try and answer them for you, and don't forget to subscribe to road.cc so you don't miss all the great videos from us. So then, HJC. Now, it's entirely possible that you've not heard of them, and even if you have, you might assume that they're some kind of Johnny-come-latelys to the helmet scene, because, you know, it's only in the past couple of years that we've seen them in a pro peloton on the heads of the Lotto Soudal world team. So Andre Greipel, Thomas Lecent, Victor Campanets, those guys. Actually, HJC has been making helmets since before I was born, and you can probably tell from my hairline and my waistline, sadly, that that's quite a long time. So in fact, HJC has been manufacturing helmets since 1971, and it's the world's biggest motorcycle helmet manufacturer. So in the past, it's been the title sponsor of the MotoGP, so it's, you know, it's a big deal in that sphere. Now, HJC has its own wind tunnel on site and control of the whole production manufacturing process, from prototypes all the way through to the finished lids. They're big into aerodynamics. You might remember when Victor Campanets nudged the UCI world hour record over 55 kilometers in 2019, he was wearing HJC's AdWatt time trial helmet. Okay, you might not remember that, but anyway. It's not just aerodynamics though. HJC says of its helmets, let's see, with a focus on not only advancing aerodynamics, but maximizing air intake and exhaust to outperform the competition. HJC's helmets are light, cool, and packed with technology to give you the best of comfort, safety, and on-the-bike performance. There you go, kind of things you'd expect them to say. So let's have a look at some of the lids, and we'll start with this one. This is the Attar, which at £90 is the company's entry-level helmet. So, even though it's at the bottom of the range, it is still packing a lot of features in. So, like many helmets, it is made using an in-mold construction. So that's where the internal EPS here, the foam, and the outer shell are molded together for extra strength. So that helps, and also gives a pretty neat finish to the helmet. HJC has its own wind tunnel, so of course everything gets wind tunnel tested, even this entry-level lid. There's a lot to think about in terms of aerodynamics when you're designing a vented bike helmet. So obviously you want the overall shape to be fairly slippery, this bit here, but that's only part of the game really. Some of the air goes in through the helmet here, and that's moving heat away from your head across the top of your head here. So you want these input ports to be efficient here, and you want the internal channels here to be effective, and then the exhaust ports at the back need to get the hot air out. And as they do, you want them to create clean airflow, if you can, so that when they combine with the air over the top of the helmet, because any turbulence back here will cause drag, which will slow you down. So, you know, a lot to think about. Right, there's plenty of adjustability in here. So there's a good range of adjustment here on the back of the cradle, height-wise, and here at the side, 2 attachment points, so you can tweak the fit a bit more forwards and backwards. Rear dial here, it's a pretty standard affair, although HJC has some different approaches for that further up the range. We'll look at those in a bit. Overall, it's a good looking lid, and it's light. This small sample that we have here is just over 200 grams, which, you know, is pretty impressive for the money. So that's the Attar. Let's move up one rung to this, which is the Velico. So what do you get for your extra cash? Well, it uses a similar in-mold construction as the Attar, but it also uses an internal reinforcement structure inside the EPS foam. Now that adds a bit of weight, but it helps to hold the helmet together in the event of an impact. This small sample weighs in at about 235 grams, so you know, it's still pretty light. Most of the gains here are incremental over the Attar, so you get nicer quality pads in here, you get better straps too. The retention system is very similar, it's got good height adjustment at the back. There's a little bit more tactile micro ratchet system at the back here. And you know, the quality of the finish is similar, and the two lids have a bit of a different look. I mean, I wouldn't say one looks more expensive than the other. It's down to what you prefer, really. So there's those two. It's a bit of a jump up there to the Furion 2. Now this helmet's £180, but there's a fair bit of different stuff going on here. Now, somewhat counterintuitively, HJC sees this as a hot weather helmet, even though it's not as heavily vented as the others. Now the reason for this, it says, is that airflow has a greater effect on performance when it's hot. And it's certainly hot in Seoul, where HJC has its headquarters. Anyway, the Furion is designed to maximize airflow through the helmet as well as over the top. So if you're moving fast, then they say this is the one to go for. Now inside, you can see that HJC has done away with any padding at the top of the helmet. Instead, it uses this sort of sprung cradle that lifts your head away from the shell of the helmet. Now, there's only 4 contact points and the air can flow any which way over the top of your head. It's not constrained into channels really by the pads like it would be otherwise. The fit of the Furion 2 is interesting too. Well, like the cheaper lids, the cradle is adjustable for length, but in this instance you have 5 positions along the side of the helmet you can use, and plenty of height adjustment at the back too. There's no rear dial though, so this rear cradle is sprung, so you can adjust the fit here, and then the fit here will adjust according to your position on the bike. Now the Furion 2 is a very light helmet too, the lightest of all of these 4. It's a shade under 200 grams. Now given that and all the tech they're packed into it, it kind of feels like it should be the top of the range lid. And you know, Lotto Soudal use this lid, but it's not. This is the IBEX 2, £200. Now effectively you're getting a very similar level of tech here, but in a more traditional vented helmet. Now venting technology can work really well if you're battering along on the flat, for example, but up a big alpine climb in the sun, you'd probably not be pushing enough air through the helmet to make it work effectively. I certainly wouldn't be anyway. In conditions like that, then a fully vented helmet makes more sense, as there's more air holes for the static air to escape, and it convects away from your head a lot rather than being blown out the back. Now, that doesn't mean that aerodynamics aren't important here, of course, and the IBEX will have had as much wind tunnel time as probably any of the others in the range. It's horses for courses really in terms of which of the top end helmets would be best for you. I mean, if you look through the images of the Lotto Soudal team in action from back when there was bike racing, remember when there was bike racing? And you'll see the riders wearing both interchangeably, with the sprinters more likely to be wearing the Furion and the climbers the IBEX, although they chop and change. Even though this one's a touch heavier, 205 grams for our small sample. Ideally, of course, you'll be needing one of both, won't you? Anyway, the adjustment system is the same as the Furion. So it has the self-fit sprung cradle at the back and 5 positions of length along the sides. And the IBEX also does away with those traditional pads at the top with the cradle here. Although like the Furion, it does have a forehead pad here to stop the sweat dripping directly into your eyes when you're working hard, because nobody wants that. So there we go. That is our very helmet focused shiny stuff for this week, and here are all 4 together. Now if you've got any questions about the tech in these helmets, ask them below. We'll do what we can. So thanks for watching, and remember to hit the thumbs up if you've enjoyed this video and subscribe to our channel so you don't miss the new ones. Cheers for watching.